You're listening to the Values and Leadership Podcast, where business leaders share their stories of purposeful impact and success.
Hello, and welcome to the Values and Leadership Podcast, the podcast for innovative leaders who want to apply new ways of doing things in work and deploy their talents and time to earn their legacy every day and have a purposeful impact in business and in life. I am your host, Ahmed Arif. I invite corporate owners, corporate leaders, academics, and advisors who practice participative leadership and love to share their positive life and business experiences, their sense of direction, sense of meaning, and how they challenge their thinking in growing their business and the people around them to their next best stage. Today, we have a special guest. We have Eric Twiggs. Eric, he is a podcaster, book author, and a former leader in corporate America. Now, he is a certified Gorilla marketing coach, certified life coach, and a certified executive coach, and the founding partner and president of the What Now movement. His mission is to build high-performing entrepreneurs, authors, and career professionals who are prepared for life's unexpected curveballs. His latest book is The Discipline of Now. It offers 12 practical principles to overcome procrastination. The Discipline of Now has been recognized as a global top 10 finalist for the 2020 Author Elite Awards in the category of Best Self-Help Book. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to be on your show today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine, and I hope we are exchanging backgrounds from different countries, which by in the end can benefit everyone, everywhere. And this is the beauty of what you are doing. Thank you for that, Eric.
Oh, my pleasure.
Let's start from the end. So the last thing that you have done is the book. Okay, so. You made a very bold statement, and you made a very bold value proposition. You said, by reading The Discipline of Now, you will receive a proven blueprint to beat procrastination so that you make more money, get more done, and feel more confident. Can you share how can this happen?
Yes. So one of my frustrations with books in this topic of overcoming procrastination or becoming more productive is that a lot of the books, they say a lot of the same things. They say you have to be the early bird. You have to, don't check your email before a certain time. It's a lot of cookie cutter information. So I purposely wanted to create something that is tailor-made for your personality type. You could be a night owl. You don't have to wake up at 4:00 in the morning necessarily like I do. But you can be a night owl and still find specific tools and resources to help you to move forward. And the content is based off, I've done over 28,000 coaching sessions with entrepreneurs and executive leaders. And so my findings and just my experiences are all wrapped up in this book. And I do find that if you do apply these principles, you'll make more money because speed is a differentiator. If you're ahead of schedule, you separate yourself. Right? I mean, you will definitely separate yourself. You're always getting things done ahead of schedule, and the book will help you with that. As far as getting more done, you definitely will, because you start scheduling your priorities, and then you find those different things that you can be doing, and you make better use of your time. And I mean, you end up feeling more confident because you're just getting a lot more done.
Great. Scheduling your priorities. And this entails that you even in the first place, what's your priorities. And this is tough because some people, they are distracted by a lot of things that happen in the day or in their lives, in the environment around them. So can you share how people can really focus and know even their priorities in the first place?
So when I work with people, I start them, I believe at the begin with the end in mind. And I like to help people to look 5 years out. So I'll say, okay, it's now 2025, and you're saying, man, this is the best time I've had in business or in my corporate position. I'm at the best place ever. Okay, why do you feel that way? because I've accomplished this. I'm now a CEO of my company, whatever those specific things are. So that's really what you want. And then you have to walk it back and break it down to, are the things you're doing each day moving you in that direction? So one of the things I do to help people prioritize is I have a 3x5 card. I know, fancy, right? I have a 3x5 card, and every day, so the night before, the following day, I have people write, and I do this, you write out your 5 critical things that you need to do for the following day that are going to move you forward and move you in the direction of where you want to be 5 years from now. So the things you're writing down, and then it builds. Remember, I was saying how you'll feel more confident when you start checking those things off. It builds your confidence, because you know every day you're doing everything you can to move yourself forward. But that's the most basic and best thing you can do to prioritize, so that you know you're doing the right things.
Great. Now I understand. You mentioned because the value proposition, so that you make more money, get more done, and feel more confident. So you'll get it by the best prioritization technique, which is to make 5 critical things in the day before, in the night before the day, so that you really focus on this, and this will help you to reach what you want after 5 years, so that you gain more confidence. Great, perfect. Can you share a story of a leader or a corporate owner who really applied that, and how did that reflect well in his work?
Well, so I have a story that one of the stories I have in mind. I had someone, and I worked with him to help him change his mindset, right? Because I talk a lot in the book about how you think, right? And if you have a negative perspective, you're going to be more likely to procrastinate. And this guy, his name, I'll call him Rob, right? I'll change his name around to protect the innocent, guilty. But so he and I are working, and he's always talking about all the things he can't do and all the things that are going wrong and this and that. And I told him, look, every day when we talk, you have to tell me something that you're grateful for. Period. We have to start the conversation with something positive, because he's in such a negative mindset. And so basically he started doing that. And it was hard at first, but then after a while, literally, if I didn't ask him that, he would interrupt and stop. Wait a minute. No, I got to tell you this. This is what I'm grateful for. And he went from his business was struggling, he was losing money on the bottom line, to making money. I mean, to this day, I mean, he's at a point now he doesn't even have to be in his business anymore. He's hired his replacement. He's got other businesses going. And the foundation of that was him changing the way he thought. And that really moved him forward. So he ends up making more money, getting more done. He feels more confident.
So it's changing the beliefs, and the mindset can be really a life changer.
Oh, absolutely. So in the book, I have something that's called the Procrastination Prevention Pyramid, right? And it's got different levels. If you advance through each level, then you're on your way to overcoming procrastination. And at the foundation of the pyramid is your attitude and how you think. Because really, if you think about it, your attitude is at the foundation of your success. And yeah, so in that, with Rob, once we got him thinking more positive, then that's when he really started to see things. And I'm telling you, if you ever want to, if you feel like, oh man, everything's going wrong, oh, woe is me, what am I going to do? Start focusing on what you're grateful for. And it'll definitely change. It'll change everything. It's truly a game changer.
Yeah, because really in people's lives, there are positives and there are negatives, but people like make a spotlight on the negatives only, and they forgot about the good things they are doing. So when you are making them feel grateful for something and talk about it, this gives them, as you mentioned, confidence and a way to go out of this negative thinking.
Yes.
Great. In the coaching, beside you are a certified guerrilla marketing coach, and certified life coach, and a certified executive coach, you called yourself, you are an accountability coach. So this is what you find yourself really differentiating, and this is what you really like. So explain to us the accountability coach.
Oh, great question. Because the bottom line, and I think the reason that people want to work with me is because, and a lot of times, if we're honest with ourselves, we know what to do in a lot of instances. In a lot of cases, we know what to do, but it's about doing what you know. And again, procrastination, sometimes they're afraid. Sometimes there's a lot of reasons. So people count on me to really hold them accountable, to say, okay, you said you were going to update your website. Have you done that yet? Or just to say, hey, when are you going to do it? Okay, how am I going to know that you did it? And just knowing that you have to answer to someone, that changes everything. And I can tell you personally, I mean, like I've had accountability partners, and literally we would meet every Sunday at like 8:30 at night. And I knew if I said something, she was going to ask me about it. And it motivated me to get certain things done. I just think just accountability is critical. And that's the main, and that's my big thing. So if you work with me, you know, I'm going to hold you accountable. And I'm like brutally honest. Like I'm going to tell you if you're not meeting your end of the bargain, I'm going to let you know that. I don't believe that sugarcoating helps anybody to move forward. I think you need to know the truth. You need to know what you need to do to move forward. And I'm going to help you to hold you accountable.
Great, great. So the accountability part, and to be honest with yourself. I really like combining these two things. How people can be honest with themselves and be self-accountable or achieve self-accountability.
Well, I think you have to start small. You have to start with the small wins. You have to, see, a lot of times we think it's these big things, but it starts with, if you say you're going to go to the gym, go to the gym, right? And then believe it or not, that builds confidence. When you can consistently keep the promises that you make to yourself, that is the first step. And then it just builds from there. And that's why it's so powerful, the list I told you about, the top 5, because you're getting in a habit of keeping promises that you're making to yourself. And and if you don't make it, it's right there. The data doesn't lie. If you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it, it's right there. You have the evidence right in front of you. So that helps you to be honest with yourself. And then if you the thing is, like, one of my big things, my core values is integrity. And that's really what integrity is all about. Completing that circle, being honest with yourself. And if you're honest in the small things with yourself, when the bigger opportunities come, you'll be honest then too.
But in real life, people can be consistent for some time, maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Then procrastination invades our previous promises to ourselves. So how to keep the promises, as you mentioned?
So here's the thing, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. At the same time, you need to factor failure into your success plan. So here's what happens. People make these New Year's resolutions, right? Oh, I am going to work out. Yes, I'm going to the gym. Okay. And then something happens and you miss time. You don't go like you said. And people, they get disappointed and they give up. Where I think you have to factor failure into your success plan. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall short. But it's about assessing what happened and moving forward. The key is just to keep moving forward. If you said you weren't going to eat potato chips and you find yourself eating potato chips, you don't give up. You say, okay, I'm going to get back on it. And that's really how you move forward.
Great. This is good. To factor failures in life. Would that as well entail, like, maybe I stop one promise, maybe I stop moving into one direction, then I want to change the direction later. So would that change complement the original one, or how do you see it, or how do you deal with it with your clients?
So repeat that again. So you're saying I want to change direction instead? I just want to make sure I understand the question.
Yeah, change the direction. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I think it's all about being clear. I just believe clarity is a starting point of success. So really being clear of where you're trying to go. And the other thing is, this is where honesty comes in. Sometimes you have to do what's called zero-based thinking, right? So what that is let's say you're involved in something and you're saying, I really shouldn't have done this. This just was not a good decision. It seemed like a great idea at the time, but it's just, So you have to ask yourself, this is where honesty comes in. knowing what I know now, would I have gotten into this? And if the answer is no, you have to say, okay, what are my next steps to get out of this? And it's okay, because we all do it. We all make decisions that feel like the right decision at the time. But when we get more information, it's not the right decision. So you learn from it. You say, and sometimes you have to go backwards for a little while, get out of it, and then move forward in a better direction.
Great, great. This is very, very important. And this has to do as well with accept the failures as well, factor failures in life. So you have to accept what you have done, and you have to reassess, to make reflection, and continue forward as well.
And the best thing is to learn from it. So I have people I work with, they do like a lessons learned list. So if they have a big setback they're telling me about, I'm like, okay, great. What did you learn from that? Write it down. So that way you can be better. So if you hire someone and they're a complete disaster and they're ruining your department, but okay, what did you learn from that? Okay, maybe I need to do background checks. Maybe I need to listen more on the interview. Maybe I need to do reference checks. So now the next person you hire, you're better at the process. But the key is really learning from it. And I heard a quote one of my mentors always says, every master was once a disaster. So it's, failure is a part of this thing. And actually, I think if you fail faster, you'll succeed in the long run and you'll advance better.
Great. So to journal the reflection and to journal the lessons learned in a list, you find it as a powerful way to move forward.
Yes, because what happens is sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves up when we make a mistake or we have a setback. And so we get in the habit of writing down what you learned from it. It's easier for you to keep going because you know that this is all, again, it's about being clear on where you're trying to go. And get to the destination, they're going to be some setbacks. That's just a part of it. There are going to be some failures, but it just really helps you to put your failures in the right perspective.
This is really nice. And one of the things that people don't care about is the note taking. So now we want people to have more note taking skills. Note taking skills. How's that go? Should I buy a small note, or should I use an iPhone organizer? What's the best way that I can accumulate all this learning and benefit from it?
Well, I think it depends on the person, but I can tell you for me, writing things down is better. If I write it down, it's like I've got there's a stronger link to my brain. Like I'm more committed to something that I write down. Like if I write something down, it's one of my 5 things. It's like I'm compelled to do it. More so than if I put it in an electronic device. But again, people are different. But I would say that for me, I think there's power when you start writing something down. I think you feel more committed to it. And I do think at the same time, it does help to make use of technology. There's all kinds of apps and things like that. Reminders you can set up, like calendars. So like from an electronic standpoint, like I use a calendar and that keeps me on track. And I'm in the habit of just anything that I consider to be a priority, it's on my electronic calendar. Because I know that if it's on the calendar, the chances of me actually doing it go up by like 80%. So I would say writing for me, you're just asking for me, writing works as far as like goals and things you want to do. But as far as like your calendar, it's good to have something electronic.
And by the way, this is a side note from myself, that when you start writing, maybe you find you are building a new skill, which is a writer, to be a writer, and maybe this goes further to be maybe a blogger, maybe a book author later. So actually, you are building a skill as well. Besides supporting yourself in the situation you're in, you are building a new skill actually by writing.
Absolutely. Not only that, I just find that like I sleep better. Because like a lot of the times I would have ideas, especially when I was, like at one time I had 500 people working for me. I was a district manager at 17 locations. And I would have all of these things in my head about what I had to do the following day and how am I going to have this conversation. And when I started writing them down, I started writing down what I had to do. And now my priorities are on paper. Literally, I would sleep better because now the ideas are out of my head and they're on paper. And I also found that writing, it helped me to be more creative because now my head isn't clogged up with all the things I have to do and all the things I'm worried about. Now I have room for innovative thoughts. And sometimes I'll wake up with a great idea to execute one of my priorities.
Great. So writing makes you more creative and have innovative thoughts and help you in sleeping as well. So
For sure.
great, great. So it's multiple benefits. Now we just mentioned that where you were in corporate America, you have a lot of things. And I realized that you, after maybe a long journey, or maybe more than 10 years in corporate America, you decided to leave and you started to be a coach and an author and all of this. Why did you left corporate America?
Okay, so let me back up. So I'm often asked like why I talk about procrastination, how I got to this point. So back in college, I had a good friend of mine. I talk about this in the book. I had a good friend of mine who just tragically passed away. It was sudden, and he was in a single car accident. I mean, this guy's like the most clean living, straightforward person you'd ever meet. He just suddenly passes away, and it shook me. And I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have the time I think to do the things that I need to do in life. And I thought, here's what I thought. I thought the message was I need to climb the corporate ladder. That's right. I need to become as successful as I possibly can. So I that's what I focused on. I want to make as much money. I want to be driving a nice car. And I reached a point in my career where you would say that I achieved that. I had 17 locations. I was in the automotive service field at 17 locations, at 500 employees working for me. We're winning these awards. I mean, we've been the most profitable district in America, all of these things. I remember this as plain as day. I'm driving in my BMW, and I look in the rearview mirror. I'll never forget this. The eyes I saw looking back at me, my eyes, were the eyes of someone who hated what he was doing. So I'd reached a point where I felt like I was successful, but I wasn't significant. It was like, okay, I'm making money, I'm doing this, but I'm hitting the snooze button every morning. Like I literally have to drag myself out of bed and like will myself to want to go into the office. And I started to think like, okay, when did I feel fulfilled? You know, when if I look at things I've done, and it always went back to when I was speaking in public. I had a time in my career in corporate America where I was a corporate trainer. So I would teach these different classes and I would be talking to people. And every time I would always remember that I would feel like, man, you know, I could just do this all day, every day. This is great. And I really felt fulfilled, but I ended up getting promoted again, trying to climb the corporate ladder. And so I just explored that. So and now I procrastinated for a while. It was like 3 years from the time I felt like I needed to be a professional speaker to when I actually started doing something. We can talk about that here in a minute, but once I got started, what I did was I went and joined Toastmasters International. It's a speaking organization. And then from there, I met someone who trained professional speakers. Then I joined the National Speakers Association, and it just grew from there. And here we are. But that's how I went from being in corporate America to doing what I'm doing now.
Great. You mentioned one nice word. You were successful, but not significant. Successful. And you said you were climbing the ladder and all of these things. And I can hear that, or I can infer that successful, it was something that it was external to you. It was what the society or what the environment agrees what success is to climb the ladder and have money and have the BMW and all of these things. But you yourself internally, it was different thing. You didn't feel significant. So can you dig more in this significant internal and the external success factors?
Yeah, for me, significance means fulfillment. It means that you are contributing to something that's bigger than yourself. You're leaving a legacy. You're leaving something, you're creating something that years after you're gone, it's almost like you're writing in wet cement, right? You write in the cement. You ever go to a construction site, they've got the cement, and you write, Eric was here, and it's wet cement, but then when it dries, it's there. So long after Eric's gone, somebody can go look and see, oh, wow, Eric was here. To me, that's an example of something that's significant. You're doing something that's going to last. You're doing, even if it's writing a book, you know, years after I'm gone, somebody can pick up the discipline of now. my grandkids, my great grandkids can say, oh, that's great granddad Eric Twiggs. So that's kind of what, for me, what significance is. And you're contributing, you're helping people. You're helping people to move forward and to get better and accomplish their goals. Being successful by the world standards is more about you as an individual. It's more about you making money, you getting patted on the back, you driving a certain car, living in a certain neighborhood. But there's more to it than that, in my view.
So only the definition of success itself can be a life differentiator and can be life altering for you in your case.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And see, for me, success isn't something that is like a final destination. Like, I think true success is really when you're on that journey towards mastery. That it's always like you never get there. I think there's levels, but I don't think you ever just arrive. You're always trying to master whatever it is that. So if you're a podcaster, you're always asking yourself, what can I do to get better? Who's a mentor that I can look at as an example? What can I be reading? So that's really what success is all about. You're always on this quest, on this journey to get better, because you think about it, you can't control the other things. You have limited control over some of the other things that other people would use to define you as success. You have I have a podcast. I have limited control as far as how many people download the episodes. I can't control that. All I can control is my preparation and my diligence. I can't control the other things.
Great. You mentioned the word mentoring more than once in our talk together in this short time. So I think mentoring has a lot to do with some of the things that you achieve. Can you share with us about mentoring, the benefits you got out of mentoring?
I think mentoring is huge. And the key thing that a lot of people miss, and I've missed this at times, is that you can find someone who's doing what you aspire to do. And that's like, for example, one of my mentors, he wrote the foreword to my book. His name is Dr. Willie Jolly. And he's world famous. I mean, this guy has been on international stages, but I can ask him a question. Hey, how are you doing this? And he always gets back. I don't know how he does it. Like, this guy he's got to be busy, but if I email him, I guarantee you within 10 minutes, he's got some long thought out response of things that I can do. And and that's really what mentoring, it helps you with your learning curve. If you find somebody that's already doing it, already succeeding in that arena. So I would say anybody, if it's starting a business, if it's whatever, find someone who is at the level that you aspire to and talk to them, find out what they're doing.
It's great. I like that. And in your journey of discovering yourself and discovering that corporate America was not the right thing, the success, the worldwide success factors. Did you do that by yourself? Did you realize that by yourself, by reflection only, or with mentoring, or with other things? Can you pinpoint?
That's a great question. So here's the thing, right? Initially, I had these friends that they were into pharmaceutical sales, and at the time that was like the hot career. That's where you sold pharmaceutical supplies to doctors, but it was very cushy. You played golf a lot, so a lot of my friends were doing that. It was the job to have. And I remember thinking, hey, I don't really like what I'm doing now. Maybe I should do that. And I never forget, I went to this guy who's like a recruiter who places people with different organizations. And I said, I think I want to do pharmaceutical sales. And he says to me, Eric, look, who in their right mind would hire you in pharmaceutical sales? It's not on your background. You've never done it. Why would someone do that? What is it that you really want to do? And I said, I want to make money. No, that's not the question I asked. What do you want to do? And I remember thinking like, I really don't know. I thought it was just about making money and being successful and having staff, but maybe there is a specific purpose that I need to be thinking of. And that's what really helped me to really reflect and think about, when did I feel fulfilled? And so that was a necessary experience to get me to that place.
And this, by the way, some people can, I like what you did after this incident, in that you try to discover your purpose in life. Some people, and this has to do with being honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, maybe you could have continued and said, this guy, what's he saying? I can do it. I want the money. Like this, but you did the opposite.
Now, the funny thing, at first, my initial reaction was, man, who does he think he is? Oh, man, he doesn't know. But then I really started thinking about it like, okay, well, no, this is a good question. What is it that I want to do? And yeah, and through that whole discovery process, here I am.
And this goes back to when you mentioned clarity of direction has to do with honesty. I think this covers everything back of what we have discussed. Really, I'm really thankful for you. I'm very grateful for you, Eric, to have joined us in this short time. And what you mentioned was really great and very concise, very clear. And I really thank you for all the insights that you have provided for me and for the listeners today.
Oh, again, it's my pleasure. It's just an honor to talk to you and to share with your listeners.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for the time.